Happy Halloween, everyone. This is the watch list video for Monday, November 1st. I'm showing you the SPY on Friday. Well, this is the daily chart of the SPY. You can see it gap down on Friday and then ended up closing at all-time highs. The resilience of this market is fairly shocking, but, it's impressive, right? A couple highlights from Friday real quick, and then I'm going to go right into what I'm going to watch on Monday. QS, which is going to be on the list for Monday, by the way, but a big breakout on Friday. And as it looked like this, I called a fives buy zone idea. It might have already been in the fives buy zone, actually. And if you just grab that somewhere right in the middle of fives buy zone around 27.50, you had a really nice trade. I know some people that did that. I actually called the fives buy zone, and it had flushed 50, and then I don't know. I didn't have my bid in ahead of time, and I like to. And before you know it, when it was back up over the 50, I felt like I was chasing already, so I didn't get in that one. Pretty annoyed at myself, but I ended up having a decent day. BKKT was the big one on the day, obviously, and there were really two calls in the chat room on it. Let me go to 5-minute candles. One of them, Keith R. I had already typed out I like this 28-second mouse, but it was all the way down to 26s. I'd already typed that out, ready to post it in chat, just in case it started to curl up. And then it starts to get volume, right? And then Keith R in the chat room posted the volume heads up in BKKT. So I called, I almost have to use, maybe 2-minute candles. Yeah. I called a Tokyo in it, probably between here and 28. Because I knew I already liked it over 28, and then I knew the earlier high was 28.50. So then I thought, well, hey, we might have a clean inflection point trader on top of that. So I called a Tokyo. I think most of you probably were able to get it under 28. And it went pretty quickly to 29.40. That's a good trade in and of itself. And then came back down and probably chased a lot of us out of the rest. And now let me switch to 5-minute candles. And you can see the nice secondary setup it gave. So it topped out really close to the whole number 30. Came back up. Actually, still didn't hit 30, but you had a really handsome little cup and handle forming with Thursday's high not far above on a recent high flyer. So Kevin P in chat called this over 30, and look what happened there. That was the call of the day probably, and ended up going out at the highs pretty close to 42.68. Huge move, and then I think it probably went farther in after hours. I'm not sure. I don't have it in front of me. So there's a couple highlights from Friday, and I'm going to show you what I'm watching on Monday. All right, so Lucid, LCID, had the big breakout on Thursday, then kind of a gap up, but gave some back on Friday. I've got to keep this one. After that breakout, and then Tesla's been so strong, so the EV space is strong. I definitely want to keep an eye on Lucid. I'd like to see one of the famous afternoon range breaks, but we'll see, right? I'm going to watch it. BKKT is way ahead of itself, but we're going to keep it on watch because it's been a crazy trader. BT, I don't really understand what happened here. It looks like it had a strong day on Friday until you go to the intraday, and you see, and this is also weird. It looks like it topped out at 1163 on the intraday, right? But then if you look at the daily, it looks like it topped out at 1425. What happened was this halted here because of the volatility halt, and probably reopened right at the close or right 1 second after the closing bell or something. And so the charts recorded it as the high of the day. Maybe it opened 1 second before the closing bell. I don't know. And after hours, it looks like it sold off after opening over 14. So I don't know. I'm going to have it on watch, but you can't really go by the daily chart because the daily chart is a little deceiving. Having said all that, it sure is interesting that it had this massive spike late in the day. I didn't do any research to see if I could figure out what it was, but that's enough to land it on my watch list. It's a Bitcoin related play, so keep that in mind. We'll see what Bitcoin's doing on Monday morning. MTTR, really nice move on Friday and a pretty strong close. You could argue there's still a catalyst above at around the whole number 24. Friday's high 22.70. So that one's certainly worth watching for a continuation play. MQ, I told you guys I've been watching for a pull, but I had it on watch. Well, this day, but even after this day, I thought I still want to keep an eye on it. Now we got a couple days where it put in lower highs, and now it's becoming way more interesting to me for a bounce play. If I show you 5-minute candles, we set the high early on Friday, so there was no trade in it. I'd like to see an afternoon range break, as you guys know that I like on bounce play. So MQ, pretty strong stock, and now we've got kind of a 2 or 3 day pullback. PayPal, I don't know. I'm not in love with this. Thing's just so weak, right? Every day gaps up, or every day, even if it hasn't gapped up, it's closed below its open for like 7 days in a row, maybe 8. So, but it did bounce nicely off of this area. When I say area, I mean area, not an exact number, but the 230 area. Look at the bounces here, here, here. But you could argue it's pretty heavy. So I don't know. If I get an afternoon breakout on PayPal, I'll give it a shot. Otherwise, I probably won't trade it. Talked about QS already. Nice breakout. We're looking for a continuation day on Monday. FSR, by the way, QS battery, EV battery related, and so anything EV is worth watching with the strong move in Tesla. You know what? Let's just glance at Tesla real quick before I go back. Yeah, Tesla just ripping to new highs, new all-time highs. So back to FSR as an EV play. Topped out on Friday at 1640. On Thursday at 1685. It's trying to hold this breakout over 16. So certainly worth watching for potential long on Monday. GREE. This thing's been beaten up ever since it came public, but that is the strongest volume day ever for this stock. So we definitely want to watch that for a possible follow through on Monday. EQOS, I believe, is Bitcoin related, and also strangely strong lately compared to relative to Bitcoin itself, I would argue, and a crazy strong close on Friday. We're going to see if that breakout continues and if we can get in using an A+ setup, right? OCGN has had all kinds of news lately. I'm not sure when the actual decision is going to be made on whether they're FDA or whatever. It might be a Europe. I don't know. I think it might be Europe, maybe India. I don't know. Somewhere they're looking to approve this thing as a vaccine for COVID, and it got a nasty reversal. This would have been Tuesday, but it's working its way right back up. Certainly an interesting setup. Pretty strong lately, so we'll see. Keep your eyes on that one. And then VLTA. It's kind of obscure, but it had an ugly chart, but it had this kind of interesting pop on Thursday where it went from 701 to 830, but gave almost all of it back. Then on Friday, it gaps up and puts in a slightly lower high below Thursday's high. So 819 was the high on Friday. 830 the high on Thursday. Decent volume for this stock the last couple days. So if you kind of ignore all of this, you say, hey, this one is holding up pretty well after the last couple days. So we'll see. There's others that I'm kind of interested in, but I'm trying to keep the list a little shorter. And I got other stuff we're going to watch, and we'll add gappers as well in the pre-market. Enjoy your Halloween, everyone, and I'll see everybody in the chat room on Monday morning.